It's now 7 o'clock. We will call the Farmington May 11th Town Council meeting to order. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Chris.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Now we will start with presentations, and we are honored to honor the Firefighter of the Year. If you could join me at the podium here. Okay. John Driscoll, we are reading your proclamation, which goes as follows. I'll let you hear me. Whereas John Driscoll has served the town of Farmington as a volunteer firefighter for over 4 years in the Tungus Hose Fire Company No. 1, joining on November 8, 2015, and whereas John Driscoll, during his 4 years with Tungus Hose Fire Company No. 1, has already accomplished many training certificates to include Firefighter 1, Firefighter 2, Fire Instructor 1, Emergency Medical Technician Certification, and Operational Level Hazardous Materials. And whereas John Driscoll follows in his father's footsteps as a second-generation firefighter, continuing a legacy of dedication and commitment to the town of Farmington and the town of Farmington Fire Department. And whereas John Driscoll has achieved many notable recognitions, to include top responder in the year 2019, where he responded to 571 calls for service, which encompassed both fire and medical emergencies. And whereas John Driscoll has made significant and lasting contributions in multiple ways that have fostered the well-being of the citizens of the town of Farmington, most recently being instrumental in the COVID-19 pandemic response by supporting community events to include drive-by birthday parties to help lift the community spirit. And whereas John Driscoll has maintained a focus on the public good and acted to protect the public interest while donating countless hours of time, energy, and personal commitment to better our community and enrich the lives of residents of the town of Farmington. Now, therefore, the Farmington Town Council hereby commends John Driscoll for his excellent work on behalf of the community, and we congratulate him on his 2020 Firefighter of the Year Award. The Farmington Town Council hereby proclaims May 12, 2021 as John Driscoll Day in Farmington. Dated at Farmington, Connecticut, this 11th day of May, 2021, C.J. Thomas, Town Council Chair. And don't go anywhere. We have a proclamation coming down from the state.
I have a proclamation here, General Assembly official citation from our state delegation, introduced by Representative Mike D'Amico, 21st District, Representative Tammy Exum, 19th District, Senator Derek Slapp, 5th District, and Senator Gennaro Bizzarro, 6th District. Be it hereby known to all that the Connecticut General Assembly hereby offers its sincerest congratulations to John Driscoll in recognition of your selection as the Firefighter of the Year for 2020. We commend you and thank you for your diligent efforts, including many training certifications and numerous responses to calls for service. The residents, businesses, and institutions of Farmington and Unionville have benefited from your selfless and heroic actions in promoting safety and protecting lives and property. The entire membership extends its very best wishes on this memorial occasion and expresses the hope for continued success. Given this 8th day of December 2020 at the State Capitol, Hartford, Connecticut, by and then signed by President Pro Tempore Martin Looney, Speaker of the House Joe Arsinowicz, and Secretary of State Denise Merrill. Congratulations.
Farmington Town
Congratulations. Fantastic job,
And with that, we will go to item C2, the Farmington High School Building Committee. And we'll begin with Ellen Sayuda, Board of Education Chair.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Ellen Sayuda, Chair of the Farmington Board of Education, and I am thrilled to be here on this very special night as the Council deliberates to approve the schematic drawings and project cost estimates for the new Farmington High School, and look forward to this project being sent to referendum on June 3rd. Last week, the Board of Education voted unanimously to approve the project. It precisely meets our statement of needs. It will enhance learning for all students in a safe and healthy learning environment. And we feel this building will be a tremendous benefit to our entire community. The Board of Education has remained unified with the Building Committee and the Town Council, and we are beyond excited about this project, and we believe the voters of Farmington will be given an opportunity to be a part of positive change and be able to protect the quality of education that we enjoy in Farmington by supporting this project. It's now my pleasure to introduce Megan Guerrera, the Chair of the Farmington High School Building Committee. I think everyone in this room and involved in this project over the last 2 years would agree that it has been Megan's leadership that has kept us all moving forward and kept us informed and most of all kept us unified. I want to thank Megan for the hundreds of hours she has volunteered and the consistent positive and calm energy she brings and the committed outreach she has organized for our entire community. We thank you, Megan. We are all with you, and most of all, we thank you for everything you have done to frame this project, and most of all for your continued leadership. So I will now turn the presentation over to our Chair of the Farmington High School Building Project, Megan Guerrera.
See everybody's face for the first time for a very long time. Thank you very much, Council, for having us this evening. Again, Ellen, thank you very much for those kind words as well. My name is Megan Guerrera, and I am a 20-year resident of Farmington and the Chair of the Farmington High School Building Committee. Tonight's presentation focuses on the schematic design and project cost estimate for the Farmington High School Building Project. This comprehensive new high school design has been achieved through the collaborative efforts, time, and dedication of residents, elected officials, and staff from the town and Farmington Public Schools. I'm excited to share the details of this project with you. The entire FHS Building Committee believes this is the best solution to address the Board of Education's statement of needs and will provide a flexible and engaging learning environment for our students and the community. So before discussing the details of the proposed new high school, I'd like to briefly review the process the FHS Building Committee went through to get to this point. After the work of the two ad hoc committees, the Community Survey Committee and the FHS Facility and Financial Committee was complete, the FHS Building Committee was established by the Town Council in March 2019. The committee includes, as mentioned before, community members, elected officials, town staff, and school administrators. Recommendations gathered from those two ad hoc committees I mentioned previously were incorporated into the Building Committee's charge. The FHS Building Committee's work was divided into two phases, as you see illustrated in the slide in front of you. So phase one, the conceptual options phase, where the FHS Building Committee was to evaluate conceptual design options from multiple architects to provide the Town Council with the information they needed to set the net municipal project cost, range, and overall project scope. That phase is complete. The FHS Building Committee engaged 2 architectural firms to complete 3 conceptual designs each, which included an option for maintaining the current facility, doing major renovation on the current facility, or building a new school. So before we move on any further, I do want to provide a quick reminder of the maintain and renovate conceptual options that were not selected by the FHS Building Committee and why. So the very first option I want to discuss is what we refer to as the maintain option at a project cost of $49 million. This was the least expensive concept, but was not even considered a suitable solution by the architects presenting it. This concept was a required submission by the building committee to understand the cost of maintaining the building and doing nothing more. It did not meet the statement of needs or safety requirements, required additional capital expenditures, and caused significant disruption to learning during construction. Another option that we did review was what we also refer to as a maintain light option at a project cost of $99 million. This concept went beyond maintenance by adding an addition, but still did not meet the full statement of needs. Safety concerns remained, and it caused significant disruption of learning. There was also 2 renovated new options at a project cost of anywhere from $138 to $140 million. Both renovated new options met the majority of the statement of needs and did provide flexible learning environments, but only addressed some of the safety concerns, left concerns around project duration and cost due to unknowns during the renovation that would lead to significant disruption to learning during construction due to a phased renovation approach. After a 9-month competitive process, the building committee recommended PSKP Studios' option for construction of a new school as the best solution to address the Board of Education statement of needs. On February 4th, 2020, the Town Council unanimously voted to select the new building solution and set the net municipal project cost range at $105 million to $110 million. That's a little bit better. All right, so we're going to continue on to our discussion of the project timeline and move on to phase 2. So phase 2 is the preliminary plan phase. Here, the FHS Building Committee's work centered around designing a comprehensive solution to address the Board of Education statement of needs that falls within that net municipal project cost range and overall project scope set by the Town Council. While the committee was on a brief pause due to the economic conditions and uncertainties from COVID-19, we continued our monthly meetings to finalize our schematic design, work collaboratively with the Town Council and Board of Education, and continued to stay connected to the Farmington community. The FHS Building Committee has finished the community education and communication aspect of phase 2, which included summary and topic-specific presentations, newsletters, and updated website information. Over the past 2 years, these dedicated residents and many team members have contributed countless hours to deliver the best solution to address the Board of Education's statement of needs. The new high school will provide a flexible and engaging learning environment for our students and the community. So now we're going to move right into a walkthrough of the overall design elements. So we're going to start with a summary of the proposed site design for the new high school. So the slide in front of you does give you an overview of the site and just a few things to consider as you're looking at that. So this was really a great approach because we focused on this approach conserving existing resources, improving safety and security, improving traffic flow and vehicular circulation on the site, as well as improving traffic on Monteith Drive, providing additional parking, and this was an important part of our conversation. Within this site, we are continuing communication with surrounding neighborhoods throughout construction to mitigate concerns. And most importantly in this conversation is because of the location of the new building, there will be no disruption to teaching and learning during the construction phase. So this was a very important part of our conversation as a building committee. We heard lots of feedback from the community on this issue and concerns around what this would mean to teaching and learning during this process. So the approach of a new high school really does meet that need. All right, now we're going to take a look inside the building. So let's walk through the floor plan of the three-story, 239,000 square foot high school. This slide shows the first floor or ground floor layout. There is a dedicated and secure main entrance with administrative offices adjacent to the main entrance. These are represented in purple on the slide in front of you. The assembly space, stage, and auditorium are represented in orange. Next to that is the cafeteria in yellow, with kitchen area in the gold color. The athletics and PE spaces, which are the main gym, the auxiliary gym, and locker rooms, are in green. There's also a separate public after-hours entrance, which faces the 900 wing and the football field. On the other side of the building, closer to the abutting neighborhood, are classrooms represented in red. All right, we're going to move right on to the second floor. So the second floor has more classrooms in designated learning communities, as well as special education classrooms and resources. The library media center is also on the second floor and is indicated in yellow. And then a brief view at the third floor. This is the top floor of the new building, and there are only classrooms on this floor, as you can see in the slide. So in addition, a brief overview of the renovated 900 wing. So this slide shows the renovated 900 wing. This will house the Farmington Public Schools central office, indicated in blue, and the locker room areas to the left in green. It is important to note that the Board of Education clearly defines a solution to address the overcrowding town hall office space in the statement of needs for this project. The existing 900 wing, and we all remember, is built in 2003, so the newest addition to the current facility is not only perfectly located, but provides the appropriate amount of square footage to adequately meet the needs of both the fieldhouse facilities and critical central office requirements. So next, I would like to play a brief video that provides a side-by-side comparison of the current high school and the new high school.
That was brief.
Core technology can be incorporated within the space document for distance learning and collaborative detection from multiple applications. Our current program is an example of the challenges that federal enrollment can face in our program. The space is too small for enable students to attend these classes. Students often have to practice at home and keep schedules. There's also insufficient storage for instruments and activities. Most importantly, it is not easily confined or accessible for the federal space. Our FHS provides a means that can support large and small group autonomy for music practice, with appropriate acoustic separation, with basic spaces, and with acoustical treatment within the room. The music room and photograph is provided with a platform with a maximum flexibility, and movable chair seating can be reconfigured at any stage. The room has window clear lighting and sound absorptive and reflective low panels to optimize acoustics. To the left of teaching space, the science laboratories also function as classrooms and workspaces. There is insufficient storage for scientific tools and equipment, which can be associated with our students and teachers. We are very careful in working with them, but are still limited to the debating space. The new FHS provides a bench set of learning stations with good sidelines for demonstration tools. The photograph shows a high school science lab with optical movement to enhance the work environment. Ample daylighting reduces the need for artificial lighting, satellites, and dynamics. Organizations with the students learn and simplify viewing. In a fine arts class, the students work with color tools and volunteer and objects. The classroom is too small to expand the project opportunities, and these types of projects require sufficient space to ensure student safety. The new FHS provides clean, safe, and international spaces with adequate storage facilities for materials and tools. Sharp infrastructure can include acoustic separation of spaces, accessible distribution of utilities, and ample ventilation with depth filtration. For safety reasons, power equipment should be spaced appropriately and have proper safety features to meet emergency systems. There is no access to the second level library to expand space. The current library is not compliant with ADA standards, and it is not enough space for both and use. The new FHS provides a very visible, centrally located library with space for a variety of activities, such as individual studies, and also discussion and project work. Moving the furniture for opportunities for rearranging spaces to accommodate easy reading and presentation. The auditorium at Hamilton High School, like many of our larger spaces, space and access serve the needs of our community. A high school auditorium should accommodate half of the student population. All the person holds the less than one third. Additionally, the space is not ADA compliant. This arrangement is problematic in large crowds, with entering and exiting the room is difficult and distracting. Finally, poor acoustics and insufficient lighting for student access limit the capabilities for educational and community programs. A properly functioning high school auditorium provides a fully accessible space that serves the needs of the entire community as well as the students. It should act as a general place of assembly for others who hold a learning environment for students, particularly as activities for guides and musical events with performers, or technicians who are taking such as special spaces and media facilities. For that reason, features such as catwalks for safe lighting are designed for student safety and life. Our cafeteria can accommodate the size of our current student body. All the lunch breaks are organized. The first begins at 10:11, which is when students usually begin to start. Those students are usually scheduled for lunch at 9:50 p.m. as they have something different in both weeks and over 30 minutes. This is difficult for the number of students assigned to each workday. Additionally, they have now 5 faculty members to be assigned to monitor each workday, which is challenging given faculty teaching schedules. The cafeteria is also used for specialists when receiving hands and the facilities due to insufficient classroom space. At times, only 2 of the students were assigned to a cafeteria study hall. This is quality environment conducive to student academic achievement, and again, several teachers must be assigned to monitor this large crowd. The new FHS provides a capability to serve not only as a space for dining, but also as a space for other activities during the day and evenings and weekends. This space is what applies to hosting cafeteria, and it also functions as a kitchen lobby for the auditorium and gym, as a reception area, and as an assembly space for various meetings and presentations. The old gym is too small to hold any classes out. Therefore, it can only be used for storage, small processing, and full-time classes. The modern gym is not ADA compliant, nor handicap accessible in the leadership program. There is Other different areas such as the one shown in the photograph include flexible gas stations between classrooms and actually the focal point for the small and medium community. The location of the administrative office of the existing facility is problematic. School administration does not have a direct view of the visitors approaching the building. In fact, the front office is located east to the southern gate of the building, just far from the front door. Staff of the office is inadequate and they are placed in a very remote location in the existing building. This does not encourage cross-disciplinary collaboration with teachers, and it makes different departmental planning very difficult. The new FHS administrative office will be located in the main entrance of the building. This provides maximum visibility entering buildings for security purposes. Staff of the office will be placed in each of the room facilities to encourage interdisciplinary collaboration. The existing building has been renovated and remodeled so many times that its infrastructure is poorly managed, with multiple seating improvement systems of various stages, a wheel-down distribution of environmental electricity, and continuing maintenance of piping for plumbing and drainage. This makes the maintenance difficult and costly. Many components are outdated, and the systems are no longer ready. Most of the existing building is over 1 story in height, resulting in many rows of maintenance, with many joints between the streets. The result is an existing facility that has reoccurring failures in its infrastructure. The new architect is planning to realize its roof area and its exterior walls. The design uses energy efficient wall windows with which to block the winter and which can be improved. Walls will have more insulation and less infiltration, and it will maintenance free windows and improve security and energy efficiency. All mechanical, electrical, and thermal systems will be arranged to maximize efficiency and simplify maintenance.
Okay, now that we've had an opportunity to take a look at the schematic design overview, we are going to move on to a conversation about estimated project cost. So the estimated total project cost is approximately $135.6 million. The Town Council set a net municipal project maximum of $110 million for the project, which the FHS Building Committee is committed to delivering a project below the net municipal project maximum. This will be offset by reimbursement from the state of Connecticut, estimated at approximately $26.3 million. Now I'm going to take the opportunity to go into some more detail about that cost that we just discussed. I'm going to take my time as I walk through this slide. I'm going to go line by line, so hopefully you can follow along as I call out each line in the chart in the presentation. So the following slide shows a brief overview of project costs, broken down into columns from left to right with descriptions, original costs, and adjusted costs. The original costs were estimated in February of 2020 using independent cost estimators in accordance with the Building Committee's charge. The adjusted cost followed in May after the Town Council charged the Building Committee with sharpening their pencils to fall within a targeted net town share between $105 million to $110 million. The Building Committee approved the amended cost estimate for the project, which is indicated in orange, at their March 10, 2021 meeting. Beginning with the first two rows, these categories are costs required to complete the project, but fall outside the direct construction costs. On the first line, we have the architectural and engineering fees at $300,000 for the 900 wing and $5.3 million for the new building, totaling $5.6 million. These fees include all the work required to design and engineer the building, including certified consultants in specialized fields such as IT, commercial kitchens, and food services, and universal design. The next row incorporates all the professional fees at $2.9 million, broken out into $100,000 for the 900 wing and $2.8 million for the new building. These fees are also unrelated to direct construction costs and include such items as project management, testing and inspections required throughout the project, legal fees, insurance, and bonding costs. The third row indicates all the direct labor, material, and equipment costs related to the construction of the site, the new building, and the cost to dismantle the existing building. The original cost estimate was $120.6 million. After adjustments were made to the scope of work, the final direct construction cost came in at $5.1 million for the 900 wing and $110 million for the new building, totaling $115.5 million. We received a number of questions regarding cost of building materials, so I think this is a great time for us to kind of call that out and have a quick conversation on that. So on the advice of professional cost estimators, the estimate for SHS does take that escalation rate into account. While the cost of materials has recently increased for some construction components, especially in the residential sector, actual bids on public school projects recently have been trending downward, probably because major construction companies have been pursuing work so aggressively. This downward trend on public school projects may be temporary, so the building committee has not reduced the recommended escalation rate in the estimate for SHS. So we'll continue on with our review with no funds included in the alternates line. The next row includes the cost allocated for all the interior and exterior furniture, program equipment, audiovisual, as well as any other technology-related items required to equip the school. The original estimate was adjusted from $5.6 million to $5.1 million, $200,000 for the 900 wing, and $4.9 million for the new building. The next row indicates dollars reserved for any possible unforeseen costs that may materialize during construction. These numbers were adjusted from an original $7.1 million down to $6.4 million, $300,000 for the 900 wing, and $6.1 million for the new building. These numbers were adjusted to a grand total of $135.6 million, $6 million attributed to the renovation of the 900 wing, and $129.6 million to the new building. Next are the estimated state reimbursement costs. According to the 2021 reimbursement rates, Farmington's rate for new construction is 18.93%, and the rate for renovation is 28.93%. The adjusted reimbursements equal $26.3 million, ultimately resulting in an adjusted net town share of $109.3 million, broken down into $4.3 million for the 900 wing and $105 million for the new building. The $109.3 million falls within the net town share target range of $105 to $110 million set by Town Council on February 4th, 2020, which you will see on the very last line of the chart. So at this time, I'd like to ask Kat Kajewski, Assistant Town Manager, to provide an overview of the tax impact.
Thank you, Meg. Now that Meg's reviewed the project cost, I will review the tax impact. Keep in mind that the cost of the project and the impact to taxpayers are two different things. Because of Farmington's ongoing retirement of existing bonded debt, there will only be 5 years, fiscal years 2023 to 2027, that the high school project will increase the property tax. For example, the impact on a homeowner with an average assessed value of $226,777 is estimated to be $466 in total over those 5 years, averaging $93 per year or under $8 per month. In the remaining years of the bond, there are no incremental increases to taxes due to the high school debt issues, as the required debt service is absorbed by the retirement of old debt. Remember that assessment is 70% of the market value of your house, so a house assessed at $226,777 has a market value of approximately $324,000. I'll turn it back over to Meg for project timeline.
Okay, thank you, Kat. So we're going to do the same thing with the project timeline as well. I'm going to kind of walk you through line by line and get a better understanding and description of each one of these items. So the very first line shows today's date, where the Town Council will consider the approval of the FHS building project and set a referendum date. Once the referendum is set, election laws prohibit municipalities from using taxpayer dollars to advocate for the approval of a referendum question. As a result, after tonight's meeting, the building committee enters a quiet period, and town-funded communications, including the project website, are drastically reduced in order to prevent a violation of this law. So we just want to make sure we provided that explanation not only to the council, who I know is well aware, but also to anybody who's joining us tonight from the community, so that they understand that change of communication after tonight's meeting. The next line shows the tentative referendum date for June 3rd of this year. This is the proposed date for Farmington voters to cast their ballot towards the proposed new high school. Prior to referendum, we will be preparing the state grant application for submission no later than June 30th, 2021. The application holds our spot with the Office of School Construction Grants for state-funded reimbursements. Immediately following the approval of the referendum, the design team will start work on the final construction documents. This process typically takes a year to complete, which would bring our progress into the summer of 2022. Next, the construction firms will be engaged through a formal bidding process, and construction would commence in September, following the start of the school year of 2022. Once again, I'm going to reiterate, there is no disruption to teaching and learning during construction with this project. There will be a fenced-off section that will be clearly marked that separates the current high school from the building site. Students can expect to start their 2024 school year in the new building, following a 2-year construction period. The renovation of the 900 wing would begin the summer of 2024, along with the demolition of the remaining buildings, leaving remaining site work and relocated athletic fields to be completed by the summer of 2025. So that does complete our review for this evening. We encourage everyone who is with us tonight to visit the officially sanctioned factual website, fhsbuildingproject.org. As your source for information regarding the project, you can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for additional information. Thank you to the Town Council for their continued engagement and support of this project. And at this time, I'm happy to answer any questions or receive comments from the public.
And the way we are going to go about this is the same way we go about this in our regular town council meetings. We will be looking for questions or comments regarding the Farmington High School building project only. We will have a separate comment section later for any other items. So if you have a question and you are called on, please state your name, your address, and if you could, because we have many people online, just limit your comments to 5 minutes. Anna?
We don't see any hands raised this time.
And we would start by you raising your hand, and then we will call.
We've got 3. I'm going to start with Matt Hutzberger.
Matt Hutzberger will be our first speaker. Matt?
Good evening, Matt Hutzberger, 40 Road. I'm a parent of young children and a taxpayer who supports the Farmington High School building project and agree that the referendum should be set for Thursday, June 3rd. The current facility is past its useful life and is no longer able to properly educate our students and prepare them for the world beyond Farmington. The proposed project is a sound investment. This investment is the most cost-effective proposal that meets all the needs of our students and our community. This investment eliminates the need to waste taxpayer dollars into a failing, inefficient building. A no vote is not free. A no vote will continue to waste taxpayer dollars towards the maintenance of a failing, potentially non-accredited, non-ADA compliant facility. I fully support this project, the use of our tax dollars to invest in our students and our community, and look forward to voting yes on Thursday, June 3rd. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Next is Emily Collini.
Emily Collini?
Hi, this is Emily Collini. I'm at 30 High Street. I wanted to make a comment to voice my support for the project and to thank everyone involved for all of their hard work. I want to share with my fellow Farmington residents that I think the time is now for this project. This is a bipartisan project, unanimously supported by all members of the Town Council, Board of Ed, the Building Committee. It's a smart project which ends decades of patchwork fixes. It utilizes energy efficient systems, offers adjustable classroom spaces to adapt to changing educational needs. It doesn't disrupt learning. And this project makes financial sense. The current financial environment allows municipalities to bond money at low interest rates, and the town is poised to pay off current debt, which will minimize the tax burden on residents. So I suggest that other residents join me on June 3rd, after the date is set tonight, and to vote yes for FHS and to get our town the building that we need and our students the building they deserve. Thank you.
Sam Reisner.
Sam Reisner?
Hi, it's Sam Reisner, 41 Main Street. I would like to thank the building committee, the town council, the Board of Education, and the many employees and volunteers who have worked on this vital project in developing a comprehensive solution to the challenges at the current FHS facility. I support this project and I look forward to voting yes on June 3rd, and I encourage all those listening to join me in supporting the right solution at the right time. This will only pass if everyone who supports the project gets out and votes on Thursday, June 3rd. That's right, we're voting on it Thursday. Through this building project process, the communication from the committee and the town has been phenomenal. It has been extensive, thorough, transparent, and timely. The material that's been prepared and made available through many platforms for years was a great resource for the community to understand the need for this project and the process that was taken. It also allowed residents to provide meaningful comment at the time that it could have an impact, rather than waiting until it was too late to be heard and make a difference. It is unfortunate the town has chosen to take such a cautious approach to communications around this project during the legally mandated quiet period from the warning tonight through the referendum. Significant amounts of previously produced content has already been removed from the project website and social media platforms based on the town legal counsel's advice. Fortunately, Comprehensive FHS has been mirroring much of this content and is making it available at their website, comprehensivefhs.org. I encourage you listening to use this resource and to follow the group on Facebook and Twitter to avail yourself of these resources in case you missed them, and the critical information in these weeks leading up to the referendum. That's an independent, nonpartisan organization not affiliated with any other organization, and it's working to help keep the community informed. Thank you.
Thank you.
James Ratcliffe is next.
James Ratcliffe?
Yes, hello. Thank you for the opportunity to provide comments this evening. My name is James Ratcliffe, and I'm located at 92 Knollwood Road. My wife and I have been Farmington residents since 2009. We have 2 children. Our daughter is currently in 3rd grade at Union, and our son will be entering kindergarten at Union in the fall. As a parent of 2 children who will eventually walk the halls of FHS, I have obviously had a vested interest in following the FHS building project closely. After attending many meetings, taking several tours, and listening to feedback from current and former students and faculty at FHS, one thing is for certain. The high school is in extremely tough shape and is a severely depreciated asset that each taxpayer currently pays a significant cost for the maintenance of. After yet another exhaustive search for a comprehensive solution to this problem, led by a committee of volunteers who have spent an exorbitant amount of time working on our behalf, we have landed in the same place we were 4 years ago. The best, most economical, and comprehensive solution is a new FHS. The FHS Building Committee has done an amazing job and provided our community with a tremendous opportunity to invest in the future of our town and our children. The schematic design for the new school is modern, thoughtful, and simply beautiful. There was no stone left unturned during this process, and the communication was thorough and transparent, leaving us residents with a wealth of information to allow us to make an educated decision. I am extremely excited to express my enthusiastic support and cast my vote yes for FHS on June 3rd, and encourage my fellow residents to do the same for our children, the educators of Farmington, and the community which it will serve. There is no better investment that we can make as a community than one that invests in our children and their education. Lastly, I just want to take a few seconds to thank the FHS Building Committee, the Farmington Board of Ed, and Town Council, along with countless other community members, for spending so much time and effort on this project. Unanimous, bipartisan support is tough to come by these days, so I'm hoping your collaboration and dedication is rewarded with a successful referendum. Thank you on behalf of my family.
Thank you.
Next person is Lavinia Kosher.
Lavinia Kocher?
Hi, Lavinia Kosher and Sia Goyle are joining from the same laptop. So Sia is going to speak first, and then Lavinia Kosher. Sia is located at 8 Gillette Way. So, hello, my name is Sia Goyle. I recently graduated Farmington High School in class of 2020. I would like to begin by thanking the building committee and the town council for all their hard work towards this initiative. Throughout my time at high school, I greatly enjoyed and cherished every moment that I spent walking the halls of FHS. All my teachers and the faculty and staff were extremely supportive of all my endeavors, my dreams, and aspirations. I believe that times are changing, and during my 4 years of observing the deteriorating conditions of the building, I believe the town is in need of a new building. For the betterment of the town community and the improvement of our students' education, we must build a new high school. The future generations will be vital in shaping our future society, and we must support them and their education in every way that we can. As a town, we are not only investing in the lives of our children, but we are also embracing progressivism and a positive change as a town. Our students and faculty deserve a new building so that they can teach and learn in a stable, modern, and technologically advanced environment. With a new building, the students of FHS will be able to reach new heights and achieve even greater feats than before. A new high school will not only rejuvenate the students and faculty, but the entire town as well. I strongly urge you all to vote yes on the referendum on June 3rd. Thank you. And right now, my name is Lavinia Kosher. I'm located at 16 Pembroke Hill in Farmington. I'm also a recent graduate, and I just wanted to say that we need a school that reflects Farmington's high standards of education and community engagement, and it must be a safe environment that's accessible for all our students. And our current school is not ADA accessible whatsoever, and is falling apart. We saw that wonderful model of our new school with the music department, and that made me think about our current music department, for example, which really needs improvement. And I can say as a former musician, I used to play the cello at FHS, that it was very cramped in there, very stuffy, and the instruments themselves really suffered. And we have many talented musicians at FHS, and the state of our building is impeding, our musical capacity there. And that's just one example of, the impact of the current state of our building and the real need for a new one. Thank you.
Thank you, and I'd like to point out there are no former musicians, there are just musicians who need to practice more.
The next person is Ruth Groby.
Ruth Groby.
Hello, this is Ruth Groby, 10 Hearthstone Lane. I've lived in Farmington for 47 years as a registered Democrat with a town government that has, for the most part, had a Republican majority. My experience has been that the task forces and committees that have been appointed over the years to address different problems have consisted of townspeople who were well qualified, dedicated, moderate, and hardworking. I see no reason to doubt that the last two Farmington High School building committees have been any different. And indeed, after hours of volunteer work, they have come up with very similar recommendations. I see no reason not to trust their judgment. I've seen signs around the community that read, "Say no to them again." My question is, who are them? I would argue that they are us, residents of Farmington, who put in hours of time to review all the information and make a decision. They are the children of Farmington who deserve a building that can really accommodate their learning needs. It's time for us to come together as a community, trust the high school building committee, thank them, care about our children, even if we are seniors, and vote for the project. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, the next person is going to be Jay Tulin.
Jay Tulin.
Yep.
Okay, hello, I just want to make sure you can hear me.
We can hear you, Jay.
Okay, Jay Tulin, 39 Timberline Drive. Maybe coming from a little bit of a different aspect, but this is something, I'm going to just read something that I posted over the weekend that I think is important to share. So here we go. I've lived in Farmington for 4 years. I'm an original member of Comprehensive FHS, and from the very beginning of the project, I've seen with my own senior citizen eyes the critical need for a new high school. My kids are grown up, and my grandchildren will not attend Farmington schools. It would be easy to not want to be involved or interested, but again, the current facility is lacking in so many ways. I strongly urge my fellow community members, and in particular my fellow senior citizens, to support the referendum, presumably on June 3rd. It will benefit the entire community and go a long way to ensure that future generations in our town will be well educated and prepared for their lives moving forward. Again, I strongly urge a yes vote. I'd also like to share something. It's funny that I'm following Ruth Groby, but I'd also like to share something on behalf of the Human Relations Commission. We as a commission from the very beginning have supported a recommendation early on in the process regarding consideration of contracting an advisory third-party consultant to review design plans to ensure that the concept of universal design and optimal ADA compliance are adhered to as the project moves forward. TSKP Studios has endorsed the concept and I believe has utilized this important resource in past projects. The funding is included in the professional fees portion of the FHS budget. The Human Relations Commission continues to endorse the third-party consultant. I realize it's in the budget, but I'm just reiterating this for emphasis. We'll continue to advocate as the project moves forward. That's basically all I have to say. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right, and the next person is Joanne Lawson.
Joanne Lawson?
Hi, it's Joanne Lawson, 9 Prattling Pond Road in Farmington. I also want to thank the building committee, the town council, and the town for their fiscal responsibility. However, I just wanted to point out that I am disappointed with the way the tax impact for a homeowner is described in your recent brochure. You focus on the first 5 years and it might make it sound as if there is no further impact. But in fact, there will be approximately 15 more years of paying that $466 for the average homeowner. And I think that you should have been a little more transparent in how you presented that to us after all the work you've done. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, and I have Pierre.
Pierre Gurdon?
Yep.
Good evening. This is Pierre Gurton, 12 Hunley Commons in Farmington. I want to reiterate thanks to all who have moved this project to this point. Undoubtedly, we do have a high school that is in need of some major needs, whether it be a substantial renovation or in this case a replacement. I think arguably a new school, which is a slightly more aggressive approach than the last proposal that was defeated, I think is a better idea, a better approach, because it does limit the impact to the students on the campus while construction occurs. It's also a project that can move forward and be completed presumably more quickly. My concern, however, is that, and this is not intended to shed any ill effects towards anybody involved, is that our last proposal was defeated quite handily. And if we step back, while there may have been some concerns about the specifics of the project, I would argue that in large part, I think it was the size of the financial commitment that the town was going to undertake. And I noted back then that very little time was really spent on the financial impact and aspects of this project or the high school project in terms of the impact to our taxpayers and the tax burden through property tax assessments. And unfortunately, I kind of feel we're almost in the same place. And if in fact, many of the homeowners and taxpayers and residents who last time were not comfortable voting for the project because of cost, I'm not sure that we've created a platform for them to feel any more comfortable. And, you know, while we all would like to see this project move forward, it's not a given. I think we have to earn the trust and respect and support of a broader community of Farmington, including those who last time opposed it. And I guess it's in that regard that I'm hopeful, and I've shared some comments with each of the council members as to how the town at the town meeting could potentially provide additional financial context to the residents and taxpayers so that they might feel more comfortable about the tax burden that lies in front of them. And again, I don't believe there was any ill intent, but as the last speaker noted, the focus on presenting the incremental impact, i.e. increase in taxes, is really somewhat of an incomplete analysis. While we're going to borrow 4 different times over 4 years, it's not until 4 years from now that the entire, quote, mortgage for the high school is on the books. So therefore, the tax increases in the early years associated with that circumstance are going to be naturally lower. And at the same time, the analysis has chosen to offset the increase for reductions in debt service for 2 years in that 5-year period, when that debt service is going to increase again and double in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th years. There's no doubt about it that adding the debt service for the high school is going to double our annual debt service for the town for most of the years that the debt is outstanding. And it would be helpful, I believe, if we could somehow better portray the financial costs so that it's understood, and 2, try to lay forth assumptions and possible steps that the council could take in terms of the way the bonds are financed that might actually diminish or lower the impact to the taxpayers. So I'm hopeful that we have that opportunity at town meeting for a clearer discussion, and I look forward to it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And before we go on to the next question, we've just had 2 of our questioners mention the same thing, the tax impact. I would like to just clarify for those of you who are not, is not clear to. The tax impact is the increase over 5 years. That is what your taxes will rise over the course of those 5 years. And those are 20-year bonds. So we will be paying off over the course of 20 years. So as the previous caller mentioned, it is 20 years that we will see that tax impact. As far as the financials, which was also just mentioned, we do have a number of pages of information of the financials, and until the point when we will be bonding this actual issue, we don't know precisely what the rates are. What we have done is looked at higher than expected rates, and we're trying to be very conservative. And when I say conservative, we're assuming most of these things will cost us more than they are. So we're quite hopeful that the numbers that you're looking at here are actually higher than the numbers we will actually see. Did I miss anything, or do you want to add anything to that?
No, there's also additional information on the building project website. There's a cost analysis page as well that people could find additional information. So plenty of information for people to review, but
Great.
Exactly.
Thank you. Okay. And next one.
All right. The next person is Jillian Holt.
Jillian Holt.
Hi, good evening. I'm Jillian Holt, 35 Littlebrook Crossing. I would like to speak in support of saying yes to FHS. The school now is abysmal, to say the least, I would say. Not only just by looks, but for safety concerns. I have a small child who will be attending Farmington High School, and I want to know that he is in a building that is safe and easily accessible to all. And I hope that people can see beyond the bottom line dollar signs to think about our future and our children's safety. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the next person is Rafina Lee.
Rafina Lee?
Hello, everyone. This is Rafina Lee, 3 Hamilton Way. Thank you to the building committee, to the town council, and to all of the volunteers who have worked so hard to get this project to this point. I've been listening with intense interest, the comments, and I don't want to add another voice in support. But for the folks that have talked about the numbers and the way the numbers have been presented, I ask you this: is that enough for a no vote? Your no vote will not change anything in this town. We have a glaring issue. We have this high school that is failing our students, that's failing our community. We need to fix this, and we need to fix this now. For all the folks that are listening here, the parents who are very interested in this referendum, that know that they're getting to the polls, I urge you, bring 5 friends with you, bring 10 friends with you. There are parents, believe it or not, who still don't know that the referendum is happening on Thursday, June 3rd. We, as parents who are engaged in this process, have an obligation to let them know. For the folks who don't have children in the public school system, whose children went through, somebody paid it forward for us. I am the happy recipient. I love living in this town, but I know that there were people before me, taxpayers before me, that came and paid so that my children can enjoy all the benefits. It's now our turn, Farmington. We, again, have an opportunity to fix something that is vitally important. We want to be able to sell our house when our kids leave for college. Hopefully they all get into college. We have 3 kids in the public school system. I want families who are interested in our town to come here, to know that we are focused and we value our educational system, and we won't let a failing building stop us from achieving everything that's possible for our children and our community. So you have, again, my name is Rafina Lee, and I support this project 110%, and I urge everyone on this call, and even the ones that aren't listening, the people that here are listening, get your friends, get them to the polls and vote yes on Thursday, June 3rd. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, the next person is Attorney John Schoenhorn.
John Schoenhorn?
Hi, my name is John Schoenhorn. I live at 155 Town Farm Road. I just want to say this. I wasn't originally going to say anything. I have a daughter who graduated from Farmington High School in 2010. The structure, the physical structure, was already somewhat run down then, and I just know that it has deteriorated since then. I don't have any children in the school system, so I'm speaking as a homeowner and a property owner here in town. I think that being a resident of Farmington is more than simply whether you get something out of a specific investment. So, for example, I don't believe you get nothing for, or shall I say, you don't get nothing for nothing. Whether you're going to vote for roads, whether you're going to vote for a new fire truck, it shouldn't just be about whether or not you're going to get something personal from that particular town investment. I think it's important to have a new high school, to have a high school that not only is improvement over what is there now, but is actually a high quality institution, so people will want to move here, so that property values will stay high, and therefore when and if I sell my house, I will get a return on that. So I'm talking to those people who don't have any children in the school, who wonder what's in it for me, what's in it for them. I suggest that it's a community, it's an issue of quality of life, and I think that everyone should support it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next person is Marcus Fairbrother.
Marcus Fairbrother.
Hi, everyone. Marcus Fairbrother, 12 Candlewood Lane. First, let me say thank you to the members of the building committee who have spent literally hundreds of hours over the last 2 years listening to and considering public input, carefully reviewing and analyzing information, thoughtfully deliberating over numerous options, and unanimously recommending a plan to comprehensively and cost-effectively address all the needs of the current high school now and into the future. I'd like to thank the town council members as well for your prudent consideration of town resources and how best to address the failings of the current high school building to ensure that Farmington remains a desirable place to live. Your unified stance on recognizing that a new building is the right solution and that now is the right time should underscore to the community the importance of moving forward with this proposal. The Board of Education has also been deeply involved with the project, and its members also unanimously agree that the proposed new building is the right solution. My thanks to them as well. I've been following this project from the start, which is now over 2 years ago. I understand the need. I understand the issues. I understand why a maintain-only option is not a solution, but just another Band-Aid. I understand that the town council and the town staff have carefully and strategically planned our finances to take on building a new high school, while also ensuring that all other capital improvements like roads and needed repairs at the other 6 schools in town are also funded. And yes, I do understand the hesitancy of some who do not want to see their taxes increase at all. But what I also understand is that the cost of saying no isn't free. It is in fact far worse. Failing to invest in our community now will send a message that says we don't value the education of our kids, nor that we care much about the future of our community. That's not a place where many people want to live. But a yes vote is a step forward and a way to make sure that Farmington remains a desirable place to live. I'll reiterate what the previous caller said. Please bring all your friends and vote yes on June 3rd. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and Jessica Lister.
Jessica Lister.
Hello, my name is Jessica Lister. I live at 8 Candlewood Lane. As you can tell by my address, if you know Farmington, I live in the Highlands. You can tell by that wood at the end of the street name. And I'm so enthusiastic about the proposal from the town council and the building committee for the new high school. Thank you for such an amazing option. Everybody I talk to is very excited about our future with this new high school. We plan to vote yes on June 3rd. Let's show that we believe in our town, in the future, in our children, and our phenomenal educators who have been through so much this last year. Let's show pride in our educational system that attracts people to make this a wonderful place to live, to raise a family, to educate your children, and retire. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I do not have any more hands up.
We do not see any more hands up. If anyone else would like to comment,
We have 2 more.
we have 2 more.
Okay, Tim Kelly.
Tim Kelly.
Very good, thank you. Tim Kelly, 62 Westview. So the topic tonight is our new high school proposal. We're now at a point where this issue requires some extra special thought by the town council, given the history of this project over the past 6 years. I know I've had the individual discussion with several of the members, but it's worth repeating again. You can't put this proposal out to referendum if you don't have the votes. And by that, I mean majority of votes in the community, not just on the council. Now, I know how my precinct will vote, but you all say grace over the entire town. Hopefully, if everyone's done their homework, you'll know what the best course of action is at this time. Because ultimately, it's incumbent upon us to program Farmington for success. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next person is Frank Albert.
Frank Albert.
Hi, this is actually Jennifer Albert with Frank sitting beside me. We live at 42 Woodruff Road. Our comments today are really on the basis of our experience. 25 years ago, we were searching for a town in which to hopefully raise a family. And Farmington was a standout, really, with the attraction of the education and the community that supported the educational system. We now have 3 children. One has graduated from Farmington High School, one is a senior at Farmington High School, and one will be entering the high school next year. to see, hopefully for her last year, a renovated school. We will be voting yes on June 3rd. We have seen firsthand the challenges that face the students, the teachers, and parents as we try to participate in events at the high school. The students, the staff, and the parents have all faced these challenges with resilience and a positive attitude. But the model shown today is one that is extremely inspirational, and I thank you all for the dedication in finding what I would consider a perfect solution. It is one that I would think that a couple in our shoes looking for a town that supports education and community would take a look at this new school, and simply that would be the reason that they would move to Farmington. I think it will be an attraction, and it is definitely what the next generation needs to keep this town healthy. Thank you so much for your time and everything that you've done for our town and our children.
Thank you.
Okay, I don't have any hands at this second.
No hands up at the moment. We have another last call for your hands raised. Any other comments? Seeing none. Meg, would you like to add any comments?
Last note, again, a thank you to, as I talked about at the building committee meeting last week, I really looked at this effort as, a community project. So we talk about the building committee as a team. We talk about the Board of Ed. We talk about the town council. But a very important part of this conversation from the very beginning has been our community members that have participated in all of these meetings, that have diligently attended and asked questions, intelligent questions, that have really helped us define a comprehensive solution that really does meet the need. And so for me, it really is a moment in time to reflect on that and to really understand that we have an opportunity here to make an impact. We make an impact on our children, on education in our town, on the community asset that this building will be. And that is in no small part to the level of engagement that this community has participated in so far. So we spent a lot of time talking about those of us in this room tonight, but we also need to make sure we say thank you to the members of the community that really supported us through this project, challenged, asked questions, and brought us to the right solution.
Thank you, Mike. And I'll make note that prior to COVID, you had a substantial number of the community coming to your many meetings before that in person and adding their comments and helping to frame what you have come up with here. And since COVID, in the era of Zoom meetings, you've had many more people participating via Zoom to add their comments and to help the building committee in making the decision. So thank you again for all of the building committees, many hours involved in this. I think what we'll be doing is, you want to break it first, or you want to just okay. Peter, I believe you have a motion.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to move agenda item N2 and 3 up to where we are right now on C. Second.
We have a motion and a second. The purpose is to bring to the vote the issue we have just been discussing with the public, so they can actually hear our discussion and our vote here. Do we have any comments? We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. We will now go to item N2.
I make a motion, agenda item N2, to approve the attached schematic drawings and project cost estimate for the Farmington High School building project as recommended by the Farmington High School Building Committee. Second.
We have a motion and a second, and now I will open up the comments. Kathy, would you like to say something?
And just, you have your note in front of you, and by chapter 53 of the Public Building and Town Code, you have to approve the attached schematic drawing and the project cost estimate. And then just for the public, you'll see that there is a summary of all the action items that the council has done since 2018. And we also put the timeline behind it and what Meg went over in our presentation. And then I thought, just for the council, and I know you've all been involved in it, we did the calendar of events from March and April and May, and you can see how engaged the committee has been, the neighborhoods, and that was just for information.
Very good, thank you, Jen. So we have a motion and a second on the table. I would like now to give the members of the town council a moment to make any comments they may have on this project. Brian, would you like to start us off?
Certainly. I just want to paraphrase a few thoughts of mine because I know there are a lot of people who want to speak. But I would like to say that, this proposal really benefits a lot of people here in town. Certainly, we've heard about the students and future students and the growth, and also the community engagement that would be able to occur in this new high school. It would improve, and secure scholastic accreditation, which is really important to our school and to the students trying to get into colleges. It will improve the accessibility and the ADA compliance to the benefit of the school and students and people in this town. It would improve the attractiveness of our town for families and businesses to come to Farmington because of the strength the new high school would bring to our town. The positive impact on our property values and maintain our property values, possibly increasing our possibilities, is, as we've heard from people who have called in, is really important. And one thing we haven't talked about is we're working on we're working on a tax relief program that you'll hear about tonight for seniors and other folks in need that will certainly have an impact on their ability to manage the costs, an additional cost or the tax burden that might occur if this were to be approved, which is really important to know. This is what community is all about. Farmington has really supported its community through floods and pandemics, and as it has been presented to us in many fashions, this is maybe not a crisis, but it is a grave and great need that we as a town and as a community need to address. We've worked collaboratively, as you have heard, for the betterment of our town. And we're making an investment in our high school. It's also an investment in ourselves and our growth. We will all benefit, I believe, by making this investment in our town. Those are my statements.
Thank you, Brian. Gary?
I'd like to thank the building committee, of course, for this. This is something that we've been in the works a couple of times. We put this up, and I think this is the time that we have to get this project completed. You have to vote yes on the 3rd, and I hope that all the people who have children in the school system, people that have kids that will be going to the school system, vote yes for this project. Everybody's put a lot of time into it, very well thought out. I just hope that we all go in the right direction for this vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Edward?
Thank you, CJ. First, I want to thank the Building Committee and the Board of Education for all their hard work and diligence to get both the advice from experts in the field and the feedback from the public. Their hard work produced an excellent plan that will fulfill not only our current needs, but future needs as well. I'm a proud graduate of Farmington High School, but that was 20 years ago, and the building was showing its age back then. We can't keep deferring what we know has to be done without a much greater cost to us. We have the opportunity to take advantage of the current historically low interest rates that can save us millions of dollars. Not only will the new high school increase the quality of education for our students, but it will have a positive impact on our home values. Now is really the best time to get this done. And I hope we're able to move forward with this project because it will cost us much more in the future if we don't. Thank you.
Thank you. Joseph?
Thank you, CJ. Like Ed, I graduated also from Farmington High School, maybe a couple of years later, or earlier. But even then, like you said, it was showing us age back then. And my kids will not benefit from a new high school, but I know the community will, and future generations will. And like Rafina said, you know, what's the aspect of saying no? What do we get out of it? We just want to kick the can down the street a little bit longer, have to pour more money into this building, try to patch it, keep it up, find replacement parts for something that needs to be done now. So let's take advantage of the low interest rates. We have our town in a great position to absorb the debt. It's going to be a low impact for everybody, so I'm all in support for this and voting yes.
Thank you.
Chris?
Thank you, CJ. You know, as part of my involvement and tenure with public service here in town over the years, the last decade or so, I've often reflected on, you know, why I came to move to Farmington 20 plus years ago, and it was the legacy and reputation of excellence with its schools, its services, and its financial management. And none of this was achieved without decades of thoughtful, fiscally responsible, and visionary leadership by the town elected officials and its administrators. And I witnessed this firsthand when I was chair of the Board of Education with Superintendent Greeter, where our schools were routinely recognized for their academic achievements, and we served as a role model for other districts in the state and the country. You know, quite often districts would reach out to us and ask us what we were doing and how we were doing it so well. And we were happy to share our thoughts with them because what we were sharing with them was stuff we already accomplished for 5 or 10 years and we're moving on to something else. So these school districts were far, far behind us in what we were doing. And tonight we heard in detail, you know, the need supporting our decision to move forward this and bring this forward project again. The deficiencies in the high school and their impact on teaching and learning are undeniable. I've walked that school from top to bottom, you know, the electrical, the HVAC, the plumbing, the roofing. I've been on that roof when it's pouring rain, and we should be embarrassed, absolutely embarrassed, that when it rains, we have to close down classrooms, put buckets on the floors, and, you know, teach kids in the hallways. As a lawyer, I'm particularly disturbed by the lack of ADA compliance. Our classes, the auditorium, the elevators non-functioning, the bathroom facilities, and our library are not ADA compliant. I think it's embarrassing as a community that we're willing to risk our NEASC accreditation and the impact that may have on grant funding and whether our kids can go to schools or colleges. Why this project is so important to me is this town has been good to me and my family. I've raised 2 kids here from kindergarten at West District Elementary School through the Farmington High School and on through college. And as an elected official, I want to maintain that reputation and legacy of excellence for years to come. This project is not the pet project of the town council, the Board of Education, the building committee, or school administrators. This project is the embodiment of collaborative, responsible, and visionary community development. It's the result of identifying a problem, understanding that problem, the scope and magnitude of that problem, and finding a comprehensive solution to that problem. And as some people have said tonight, I would suggest looking at this at a different lens. Don't look at this as we're spending $100 million on a school, because trust me, I know firsthand with my time on the Board of Ed, we are pouring millions into that failing facility, and we're getting absolutely nothing in return. We should look at this as an investment. We're investing in our town's future. This building is so much more than a collection of classrooms. It's our largest community asset, and we're investing in our legacy of excellence. But just as important, we're investing in the human capital of our community, our families, and our students. And someday, probably some of those students who go through new high school will be back and be our future leaders and sitting right where I am today. And they'll look back at this moment in time and knowing that when we were called upon to do the right thing, we did it. And as a parent, I tell my kids that it can take a lifetime to build your reputation, and you can lose it with a single act. And we're at that crossroads right now as a community. The day will come when that school will have to be replaced, and that day will certainly come. And when it comes, if it comes in the future, 2 things will likely be true. We'll be making a lot of our decisions at the point of a bayonet, and it's going to cost significantly more money. And neither of those are acceptable options for me. So I'll gladly support to move this project forward to referendum and ask the community to support it on June 3rd. And
if you can indulge me for one more minute. Community leaders have, over time of being involved here, Board of Ed and on the town council, come in many different shapes, forms, and sizes, and, all different styles. Some are demonstrative, some lead quietly by example. But in any event, strong community leaders possess empathy for all their stakeholders, the ability to inspire engagement, and the commitment of others to a common goal, strong communication skills, which includes the ability to listen, and pride in their community. Effective leaders are problem solvers who involve all the members of the team, get people to work to a common goal, and focus on the ability to get things done. And I just sort of went through this, not to pat myself or the town council, the Board of Ed, the building committee, the town administrators, the school administrators on the back. I went through this just to describe to you what this town has in Megan Guerrera. We are not here today without her. Her dedication, her commitment, her blood, sweat, and probably a few quiet moments along some tears. And it's been my distinct pleasure and honor to serve on the building committee with you, Megan. And I appreciate your humility in passing that on to the community tonight. So I just want to personally thank you for everything you've done. And we should be blessed and count ourselves fortunate to have such a leader in you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you. Peter?
Thank you. Again, I want to thank this building committee, everyone involved in the community that has gotten us to this point right now. Huge effort, hundreds of hours, thousands of hours have been put in, so big thank you to everyone. I want to say I graduated from Farmington High School in 1980, so that's 41 years ago. And back then, it was very challenged. And it is absolutely amazing that 41 years later, that school is still playing tough, but it's tired. What happens inside the walls of that building is wonderful, and it's a credit to the people who keep it up and running. But the time has come for our community, for our students, just in general, town pride, you name it. It's time we did this project. It is a good project. It benefits our whole community, and more so the kids that go through there. Education, it's the best thing. It is wonderful for these kids, and I can only imagine the greater benefits the kids will get from that school and the tools the teachers will have to help kids learn to a different standard in the future. On that note, my colleagues here have stolen some of my thunder with some of the things I was going to say, but the time is right, the price is right. Farmington, get out and vote. Vote yes for this project. It's needed. As an old-time Farmington townie, I'll call myself, okay? It is time. It is time to do this. We deserve it. Our students deserve it more than anything right now. I look forward to maybe someday, maybe having grandkids go to Farmington High School. Keep up the tradition. My family's been in this town 100 years. Same with Joe's. We would love to keep it going. So on that note, I support this project 100%, and I hope my fellow friends and neighbors do too also. It's a great project. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Those of us you see sitting before you right now, and those you've listened to tonight, have been involved in this project for a number of years. What's missing from those you see are the hundreds of other people who have been involved in getting us to this point on the Farmington High School building project. When we did our survey back in 2018, after the previous referendum, we asked the citizens what they thought the needs were and what they felt we should be doing going forward. Over 80% of the public recognized the absolute need of this high school building. This high school building committee has done a tremendous job of responding to some of the concerns after the previous referendum, one of which people said they felt it was rushed. I'm fairly certain no one out there is going to claim that this has been a rushed process at this point in time. They were concerned that the students were going to have to be living through a construction site. No longer the case. There will be a fenced-off area where the new building will be built. So the responses are in direct correlation to what the concerns were of the public. This is a tremendous project. We've gone through the financials of it. Fortunately, for a number of years, your town council has worked to be fiscally responsible, and that puts us in a very good situation. We do have debt coming off the rolls right now. We do have historically low interest rates. So there are some known quantities here. Putting this project off guarantees only one thing. That building will cost us more money for a building we know we have to replace at some point in time. So I would ask those of you out there who feel the need to say no to a failing building. Say no to taking away one of the two reasons people come to Farmington, a great education and low taxes. And say no to the people that try and distract from the quality of this project and say yes to a new Farmington High School project. Thank you. With that, we will move on to the motion on the table.
You gotta vote.
Yes. N2 is our motion on the table. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. N3.
Agenda item N3, to approve the attached resolution and warning recommending the appropriation and authorizing the borrowing of $135,600,000 and anticipated net project costs to the town of $109,300,000, and to set a special town meeting on May 24th, 2021, on a referendum on June 3rd, 2021.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Kathy?
So the attached resolution contains the items to be considered at the special town meeting to be held on May 24th. By charter, the town council forwards this resolution to a special town meeting with a recommendation that the resolution be approved. So you can see in the note, you have the item 1, it appropriates $135,600,000 to the costs related to the design, construction, furnishings, and equipping of the new high school and the grounds of the existing high school. You can see the rest. Item 1 also refers to the Farmington High School project to the Planning and Zoning Commission for a report pursuant to Section 8-24. Item 2 lists the times and the voting places for June 3rd and the wording to appear on the ballot for the question. Item 2 also authorizes the town clerk to prepare an explanatory text subject to the town attorney's approval for the resolution. And if you have any questions, we'll be able to answer them, hopefully.
Okay, any questions? Comments from the council? Okay, no questions and comments.
And just one quick thing, it was mentioned by Meg that the town council is also in a blackout period after you approve this. So if you...
Let's vote, and we'll see if we're going, I'll make a comment after we...
Perfect, thank you.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. As Kathy was just starting to say, we are going into our quiet period now, which means no town funds will be used to advocate for this project. There is still information available that is factual information. The town just cannot say you must vote for this, but they can give you information on the financials. They can give you information on the details, and those will, I believe, still be found on the building website. Did I miss that?
No.
Okay.
And,
Paul? I'd just like to remind you, since you have approved the warning, that you all have to sign it before you leave tonight.
Yes. Okay. We don't want to have to change that June 3rd. Too many people seem to remember it. Okay. We will now be moving back to item C3, proclamation, and Brian, would you help us out with that?
Thank you, CJ. It's my pleasure to read this proclamation. Whereas May 14th marks Childhood Apraxia of Speech Day, during which awareness will be raised throughout Connecticut about childhood apraxia of speech, an extremely challenging speech disorder that affects 1 in 1,000 children. And whereas childhood apraxia of speech, known as CAS, causes children to have significant difficulty learning to speak and is among the most severe speech defects in children. And whereas the act of learning to speak comes effortlessly to most children, those with apraxia require early, appropriate, and intensive speech therapy, often for many years, to learn to speak. And whereas without appropriate speech therapy intervention, children with apraxia will have diminished communication skills, but are also placed at high risk for secondary impacts in reading, writing, spelling, and other school-related skills. And whereas that such primary and secondary impacts diminish future independence and employment opportunities and challenge the ability to become productive, contributing citizens if not resolved or improved. And whereas public awareness about childhood apraxia of speech in Connecticut is essential for families of children with this neurological disorder and the professionals who support them to achieve the needed services for which those learning to use their own voices. And whereas our highest respect goes to these children, as well as their families, for their effort, determination, and resilience in the face of such obstacles. And let it be resolved that May 14th is Apraxia Awareness Day, and citizens of Connecticut and surrounds are encouraged to work within their communities to increase awareness and understanding of childhood apraxia of speech. Dated at Farmington, Connecticut, this 11th day of May 2021. C.J. Thomas, Farmington Town Chair. Thank you very much. This is a wonderful organization, and
Thank you, Brian.
it's their support.
Okay, we'll now move on to item D, public hearing, of which I believe we have none. Item E, new items, also none. So now we move to item F, public comment, and we'll begin with Paul Ray, Town Clerk, if she has any written items to read.
Nothing to read, just to tell you that we received 3 public comments that will be part of the minutes. One from Pierre Gerton, one from Patty Boyd Williams, and one from Joanne Larson.
Thank you very much. And Anna, do we have any of the public with their hands raised? And again, remember, please state your name, your address, and if you can keep your comment to 5 minutes, we appreciate that.
All right, there's one hand raised, it's Sam Reisner.
Sam Reisner.
Good evening. Sam Reisner, 41 Main Street. I would like to ask the Town Council to allow for participation from remote viewers of Town Council meetings and other town meetings. I know that that topic will be coming up as we are able to have people in person again soon. In the short term, despite the restrictions from the state lifting, many individuals may still have issues attending public events. Childcare for parents can be an issue. Some people can't get vaccinated due to medical issues such as allergies or age, and others simply are not yet comfortable with the lessened but still present risks of being out in public. Unlike many other activities, the ability to fully participate in our government processes should be available to all. And even beyond COVID, making viewing and comment at meetings accessible to remote citizens is a great way to encourage public participation. This can help us remove barriers such as childcare arrangements, physical challenges for those with limited mobility, scheduling issues for those with unavoidable business travel, and more. Encouraging public participation in our community government is an important part of our civic health. In particular, I encourage you to allow for remote comment at the special town meeting on May 11th, at the budget town, May 24th, today is the 11th. At the budget town meeting, it was not possible for those who could not come in person to speak, and I think it would be a great service to our community to allow for remote comment on the 24th. In the year 2021, we are fortunate to have technology at our hands to help increase civic engagement in local government and issues, and I hope you agree that this is a good thing. CJ spoke on this earlier tonight, in fact. Thank you for acknowledging this. We've had this technology for some time already. I've personally helped live stream several FHS building committee meetings, including the 6 presentations by the architectural firms, the building committee's discussion on those topics, and the committee's presentation to the town council on their selection. These were in-person meetings pre-COVID, and I saw firsthand that many people who were not previously engaged were able to inform themselves of what was happening at these meetings. In fact, we had 1,800 and 1,900 people watching some of these presentations on our page alone. And, you know, that was in non-governmental, not publicized page. I'm happy that live streaming will continue, but I hope that engagement will be much more powerful as a two-way street. So I encourage you to put technology to good use and enable access for our residents. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, there are no more hands raised.
No more hands raised. If anyone would like to add their comment, please raise your hand. We'll give you one more shot at it. Seeing none, we will move on to item G. Peter.
I make a motion to approve the April 5th, 2021 regular town council meeting. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Item H, reading of communications and written appeals.
You just have the one that's in your packet.
Okay? And then for the public record?
Yes, it is.
Very good. Okay, item I, report of committees. We will begin with the Land Acquisition Committee.
Nothing new to report.
Nothing new. Item 2, Green Efforts Committee.
Yes, we met on the 4th and received the results of our cleanup day where we collected 1,900 pounds this year, a little bit less attributable to the COVID. And we continue, in terms of just ongoing business, we continue to address the sustainable CT certification process, and our meeting focused this past week on the equity portion of that program and identifying an area where we believe we're going to focus on disabled engagement in town events and accessibility moving forward, which will be one of the benchmarks for that certification process. So that's what we talked about, and we're going to move forward and develop that. And that's
Great, thank you. Item 3, Farmington High School Building Committee.
Well, we met last week and there was not much of a meeting. It was just preparing for tonight's presentation. So I'll let tonight speak for itself.
Very good. Item 4, Elderly Tax Relief.
At this point, we're just setting up for the public hearing on June 8th, and we'll address that because we haven't met. So really no other report than other coming up on the agenda on June 8th.
Very good. Item 5, Racial Equity Task Force.
Yes, the Racial Equality Task Force hosted their Zoom community conversation, When Words Hurt, on April 28th. It was well attended. This was a conversation about recognizing microaggressions in everyday exchanges, how to respond to them, and how to prevent them. The guest speakers were Tashina Brown from Leading Culture Solutions and Andrea Hawkins from the Reese Center. And the event was moderated again by our very own FHS senior, Mercy Adekola. The task force also decided to switch to holding meetings once a month going forward, as much of our work will begin to be accomplished by the subcommittees we've created. And we have 4 subcommittees: Community Policing Subcommittee, the Website Subcommittee, the Town Staff Subcommittee, and the Equity and Inclusion Consultant Subcommittee. Thank you.
Very good. And I will make note that once a month is a reduction, because they were meeting significantly more than once a month in the past. Ed, is there somewhere people can find the videos of the different presentations on the web? Is it through the town's website?
Yeah, I think, is it on the Facebook page, Anna, or is it on Explore Farmington?
They will be on our, they're on YouTube right now, and we're gonna have them linked right on our area of the webpage.
So you'll be able to go to Racial Equity Task Force on the webpage and find the links to these presentations, some very good presentations. Okay, report of the council chair and liaisons. Being the council chair, I will begin. First off, I'll make note, we talked about the elderly tax relief. That is something that we were taking up in direct response to the referendum that we're looking at on June 3rd. So we will be looking at a way that we can help those who are most in need, and we will lessen the tax impact on those. So we'll have more, I'm sure, at our next meetings on that. Also, due to so much that's been going on in the world and in our country, particularly with the Asian American and Pacific Island community, the AAPI community, we have met with them and sat down, and we're working on a schedule of meetings going forward. One of the areas we'd like to focus on, and which is similar to the Racial Equality Task Force, we're trying to draw more of our community into public service, whether it's running for office, whether it's volunteering, whether it's being on a committee, board, or commission. We're looking to make all of these organizations throughout town look more like our town and the citizens of our town. So anyone who has an interest, you can certainly go onto the town website, look at the boards and commissions book, which is under the government tab, and see if there's an area of interest to you. And you can contact the town manager's office, and we are always looking for people who are willing to get involved, roll their sleeves up, and help out. Also, May is National Bike Month. Of note is May 17th to May 23rd. That is National Bike to Work Week. Friday the 21st is National Bike to Work Day. With that in mind, I will read a letter that was sent from, or portions thereof, from Matthew Stewart from the Greater Hartford Cycling Club and the director of the Frozen 4 race series, which is a race series that, as it sounds, took place during the bitter cold of winter, 20 degrees at points, so not something that the faint of heart would be participating in. But Matt is basically writing this letter to thank those who helped facilitate the entire series. In particular, Police Chief Paul Melanson, Community Relations Officer Sergeant Corey Vincent, for all their efforts, the private duty officers and CERT team members who helped out as well, the Farmington Police Department and CERT personnel were helped also with the fire department, Mike Galino, the fire marshal, members of the fire department, Chief Kraboulis, past Chief Don Antigiovanni, Chief Rich Higley, and Captain P.J. Amato. They all helped craft the EMS response. He'd like to thank James Rosebason at the Highway Department, John Miska at Trump, and some of the other folks who helped out, Gene McCarthy, local business owner, Sebastian DiTomaso, and also a special thanks to Ron Goralski of Bicycle Friendly Farmington. So Matt, you'll be hearing his name a little later on, is very involved in biking and also a volunteer fire department. Also, I would just like to mention, since it is Bike Month, when you see bikes on the road, remember you need to give them 3 feet to pass. Bicycle Friendly Farmington is looking for more members. As a more general comment, with the COVID restrictions being reduced, I think we've seen the public, and I'd like to encourage you more so to patronize our local businesses. Restaurants are open inside just in time for it to be warm enough to be outside, but take advantage as best you can. And the outdoor activities, we have tremendous trails, we've got sidewalks, we've got paths that you can take advantage of. Just one thing I'd like to mention, though, that as I'm walking the trails and paths, for those of you who are walking your dogs, I truly appreciate it when you're bagging your dog's waste, but it would be much more effective if you actually picked up those bags and threw them in a trash can. So just a little side note there. So that is all I have for my chair report. With that, we will move on to our next item. Kathy? Oh, I'm sorry, Board of Education.
Thank you, CJ. The Board of Education met on the 3rd. The primary order of business was the approval of the FHS schematic design and project cost estimate, which we witnessed tonight. They received a similar presentation and, as was mentioned, unanimously approved it. There were recognitions of 4 recipients for the 25 years as teachers and educators. Kathy, as usual, gave her COVID update, which the case rates are steady. 75% of the student body is in person, 25% is remote, and she also mentioned that they're working with the Farmington Valley Health District, as they always have, with coordinating outside events for end of the year celebrations, including the graduation, which is tentatively scheduled on the turf field for Farmington High School on June 16th with a rain date of the 17th. There were some discussions about the elementary enrollment update and a committee to study enrollment issues and evaluate options and strategies going forward with increased enrollment at the elementary schools. Director of Curriculum, Veronica Rusek, provided, as she historically does around this time of year, performance reports as to the student testing and data and analytics. It's very heady stuff, and if you're interested, I would encourage you to read the reports, but every year the board goes through that and receives updates as to how our students are performing. Carolyn Fink was introduced as the new West District principal. And there were the usual budget updates in terms of COVID. The cafeteria saw a little bump up as more kids returned to school in terms of their sales. The ESSER II application was approved. The coronavirus relief funds had been received, and they're exploring some additional programmatic grant funding opportunities for the Excel program. And then they also approved some policy updates to the Board of Education policies. And then also just some adverse budget impacts due to COVID-related, transportation costs with increased busing upon return. So that's it.
Very good, thank you. Economic Development Commission.
Yes, the EDC met on April 14th, and the commission discussed plans for their next quarterly business breakfast event. The commission is still deciding on the format and the date of that event, so I'll keep you updated as soon as we have more information. The EDC meeting in May is canceled, so our next meeting is scheduled for June 9th at 5:30. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. And so is it still being decided whether it will be in person or online?
Yeah, that was part of what was discussed, yes.
I find the food much better in person than online.
Yes, absolutely.
Farmington Historic District Commission.
All right, we met on April 20th, and discussed a number of items. It was unanimously voted to approve the Paul Frigga application for temporary certificate of appropriateness to replace a brick walk along the side of the house to the front door at 30 Colton Street, as presented on file and in the planning office. It was also unanimously voted to approve the Michael Cheshire application for temporary certificate of appropriateness to pave a driveway at 22 Mountain Road, as presented and on file in the planning office, with the condition the paved driveway stay within the boundary limits of the existing stone driveway. It was also unanimously voted to approve the Bing Shoe application for temporary certificate of appropriateness to enlarge patio and add a pergola at 144 Main Street, as presented and on file in the planning office. It was also unanimously voted to approve the Omni Mechanical application for temporary certificate of appropriateness to install 2 outdoor AC condensers at 16 Colton Street, as presented and on file in the planning office. It was also unanimously voted to approve the Firm LLC application for temporary certificate of appropriateness to replace a bow window at 772 Farmington Avenue, as presented and on file in the planning office. Our next meeting will be held online on May 18th at 4 p.m. And you can find the link on the town website. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Brian. Housing Authority.
I have nothing new to report on.
Great. Human Relations Commission.
Human Relations Commission, nothing to report on, but we are looking for another commissioner. So again, like CJ said, if you're interested, please go to the town website, look at what we do, and let us know if you want to join.
Very good, thank you. Library Board.
The library will be extending its hours, 18 hours per week, starting June 1st. They are hoping to go to full occupancy on September 11th, and our next meeting is May 19th.
Thank you.
Yeah, excuse me, CJ, and I don't know, Kathy, do you know how other towns are doing in terms of libraries or, in terms of openings?
I think that they're in the process of opening up. as the September 11th date seems a little bit later than some of the libraries, I think, in the district that that I'm aware of. But they are, according to our Farmington Valley Collaborative, I think the libraries are opening up, throughout the summer, and I think the governor's order at the end of this month is triggering libraries to start opening up their programs.
When is town hall open?
The town hall is going to open up May 24th.
So May 24th, the town hall. Okay, thank you. Town planning and zoning liaison.
Yes. So last night they had a meeting. They began reopening the public hearing for 402 Farmington Avenue application. We had approximately 65 people on the call, 30 panelists, and 35 members of the public. 9 spoke out in opposition of the project. After public comment, the interveners and applicants presented their closing remarks. The commission closed the hearing. After closing remarks, the commission proceeded to process each of the interveners' claims, which is a two-part deliberation. First, if the claim was in a jurisdiction, and second, if the intervener had met the burden of proof. The commission denied all claims, stated that the intervener had not met the burden of proof. The zone change in site application will be voted on either on May 24th or June 7th at their TCC meeting.
Unionville Historic District Commission.
Yes, the Unionville Historic District Commission met on May 6th. The commission approved a certificate of appropriateness for the replacement of windows for 42 Cottage Street. And the commission also discussed that they will be presenting 3 new properties to the town council next month for approval into the district as part of the historic district study report. And the next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, June 3rd at 7 p.m.
Thank you. Water Pollution Control Authority.
You missed Unionville.
Oh, Unionville. That's me every time. UBIA. Yes.
Nothing new to report.
Oh, you did that on purpose. WCCA.
We meet tomorrow and nothing new to report.
Thank you. Any other liaisons, boards, or commissions that need to be heard from? Okay. Moving right along, the report of the town manager.
Okay, you have the report in front of you. I'll just briefly go through some of the written items. The first item is the Memorial Day Parade. If you can look at your places too, the Memorial Day Parade is scheduled for Monday, May 31st, 2021. The town is excited to bring back the parade after a one-year hiatus due to COVID-19. For this year, the Unionville and Farmington parades will be combined into one parade on a new route. Step-off will be at 10 a.m. beginning at Sanford and Hawley and ending at the Town Hall Memorial. Any veteran or group interested in marching should contact the Town Hall or Paul Kraus, our veteran, and I will be providing more information as it becomes available. We're going to try to get the word out, but if the council would like to march, they should be at Sanford and Hawley at 10 a.m. on May 31st, and please pass the word around. The next item I wanted to talk about and have some consensus was about town meeting format. The governor will be lifting many of the restrictions on May 19th. After May 19th, in-person town council meetings are allowed. That means that the town council may hold their town council meetings in person with the public present instead of the hybrid model we've been following. As of this date, masks will still be required indoors for all attendees. I'd like to suggest that the town council consider moving away from the hybrid model and allow the public to be present at either our June or July town council meeting. Based on our public attendance history, I would suggest that we still require social distance for all attendees, and masks would be required based on the governor's rules. I would recommend that for those who would like to watch the meeting virtually, the town could consider to offer that option, but anyone to wish to speak must attend in person. I'd like to discuss this and have consensus on if this is how you'd like to proceed.
Would you like to do that now? Any
Yes.
thoughts, comments on June, July, in-person, masks?
Just what's the thinking behind not, or requiring, speakers from the public attending in person?
Again,
And not going on, like, not echoing some of Sam
Yeah.
Reiser's comments,
Yeah.
that just piggybacking on that a little bit.
Yep, I think that's a valid point. A couple of things were on, what I was thinking about. One is that the technology, yes, is very possible, but it is much different for us to manage it. And that's just one thought. We have quite a few staff people that have to manage it, to do it, and it's not perfect. That's somewhat of a concern. Even like, for instance, last night at the TPD meeting, they had technical difficulties. You had 100 people on the call, and that's not perfect, but that's, again, it's really the consensus of the town council. And again, the other thing that we're not sure about is that if the governor is actually going to say public meetings can be done by virtually. Part of the public meetings is that you're actually coming to the meetings. So again, I'm open to whatever the council would like to do, so.
Thank you.
Ed?
Yeah, I think I'm okay with everything Kathy said. I would like to still allow people to do public comment virtually. I think it helps engage more people in our meetings, especially those that have children or other obligations that can't physically be here, but they can log in at home. Of course, there's technical difficulties, and those will always happen. I think people are understandable when those do happen. But yeah, I think it would be nice if we could still offer that opportunity to our to the public to be able to make comment virtually.
Kathy, what, pre-COVID, was that allowable to have people online or call into meetings?
No, not to my understanding that you could do that.
So the question here would be, if the governor continues to allow it, was there a time limit on allowing that to happen? Do we know?
Well, that was part of his executive order.
Right.
That was part of the executive order. So the
Has
executive.
that portion expired, or is that?
Well, that's one of the things that I'm not 100% sure that after May 19th, that it's actually 100% allowable, but I think that, I think it is, because not all boards and commissions are going back yet, so I think there is some flexibility about it, that the governor would be allowing, to have people virtually comment.
Okay, well, let's get some clarification to make sure that is an option for us, and then at our next meeting, we can make a decision on this. Is that
Right. But we would, either way, we're gonna have the public be allowed to come back
Yes.
for the next meeting.
Is that
And then
right?
we'll decide whether, you and I will talk, I'll get some clarification, and then we'll decide if we're gonna have it, and we'll list it on the agenda.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds.
Right.
Is everyone comfortable with the public coming back, masked and socially distant?
Yes.
Right.
Okay, so that consensus, yes, that's great.
I'm good with that. And I'm also in favor of keeping the Zoom portion of it, just for easier access for the public, just to be more engaged with us. I don't have it stand somewhere that puts public comment for that part, but just for the Zoom part, for them to be engaged, to see what's going on with their meetings.
Right, and we would still be doing the Zoom. And again, it's really, I see both sides of it, but again, kind of on the other side of the equation, which I'm playing devil's advocate, but when you have that many people on a Zoom call, the logistics of it is quite tough, to calling on the people, it's not impossible, and again, it very well may be worth it, because you do have that engagement to do it, but it is something that you have to consider with the staffing and how we're doing it, and the technology and things like that, so, we'll play it by ear.
Good. Okay.
TJ, I just have one other comment.
Yes, sir.
I'm really looking forward to having people here, because I think it's really helpful to be able to see the person who's speaking to you. That is a big advantage to hearing them well. And we've heard from so many people who want to continue the virtual meetings, which is nice, because it means we're engaging more people, and the key word is engagement. I would support that. If there was a way to have people speak here, that they get preference, I think. And are we gonna have limits as to how many people are here? That's to be determined. So if we can only have a certain number of people here, we certainly don't want to tell people who want to speak that they can't be here and not speak. So if it's possible to have some people speak, if they can't be here, that would really be helpful to keep people engaged and bring more people to our meetings. I think that would be really helpful to us communicating with them.
Thank you, and that's, I agree, it would be nice to actually see people again, and, of course, we won't see all of their face, but we'll see part of their face.
Okay, good. Town hall opening, it's my intent to open the town hall on Monday, May 24th. The public and employees will still be required to wear masks indoors based on the governor's rules, but the doors will be open. As Edward mentioned, the Historic District study reports will be coming at the next meeting, and there is the reports included just so you can go through it. It's my understanding that everyone that's in the report wants to become part of the district and the commission. Main Street Sidewalk Project. I do have some good news to report on that. We did hear back from the state about our Main Street Sidewalk Project, and we made it over the next hurdle, and we're crossing our fingers that we are going to be able to go out to bid soon. So we are crossing our fingers that we'll be able to go out to bid. I think we have to go through permitting now, which is not at the DOT. It's more like the local office that goes through the permitting. So we're hopeful that that will go relatively quickly, and we'll get it out to bid, and hopefully we can get this project done sometime in the summer into the fall.
Great.
That's what we're aiming for. I think there was a
Yeah.
Question? Yes, Brian?
So can I ask a question at this point? I'm just curious, you said going out to bid, I mean, Russ said that he was going to go out, we were trying to get it done in the fall, he said we don't go out to bid until December. So he said that we would be going out to bid in December.
No.
Oh, I'm pretty sure he said that to me, that, because I asked if we could do this in the fall, go out to bid, he says, no, we don't go out to bid until December, because that's when people accept bids. So I'm kind of curious to why it hasn't gone out to bid yet.
Well, it hasn't gone out to bid because the state hasn't approved it, and
Oh, so I'm sorry, I didn't.
Yeah.
This is the first we've heard of it since last year, so, I mean, not the first, but I had actually thought it had gone out to bid.
no, what happened was is that after the council approved it, which I think was only a few months ago, the council approved it. The bid documents were put together, they were already done, they went to the state, and we were waiting for the state, as I wrote in the report, that it got kind of bogged down in the state. That it got bogged down in the state. They have to go through our bid documents, and we've been calling them, and that's why I just gave the report that we were getting very nervous because we wanted to go out to bid now so that it could be a summer and fall project. So, yeah, and I think possibly what could have happened originally is that ideally you would go out in the winter and then it would be done in the spring and summer and fall.
Right.
But we as a council didn't even have it ready to go, so we're still trying to get it done in this construction period. We don't want to wait till next winter to go out to bid. We want to do it now. But we didn't get back the information from the state of Connecticut because they have to give us our approvals because of all the grant funding. So now we did, as of the day that this agenda went out, we did get approval from the state, but it's not the final approval. We still have to get the permitting and a few other things, but they are aware that we don't want to miss an entire construction season, so we do want to get it out to bid and have a quick turnaround on it.
Oh, okay, sorry, I was under the impression that it was going out the end of last year for some reason.
No, it's been done, but once Russ has been working on it, and once it was complete, and once the council at one of the meetings that just was a couple of months ago, I think, then we sent it to the state, and it's been with the state since that time.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
But the good news is it's come out of the state, and we're very close, once we get the permitting, we'll be going out to bid, and we're hoping that that means we can get the numbers back, and we can start putting down new sidewalks. So, it's all good.
Do I have the dates wrong, Kat?
No, you're right.
No.
We had submitted paperwork, I believe it was early February, to the state, and after back and forth multiple times, us having to chase after them to get it back, and then they sat on it. So, we've been trying to push this along, because again, we wanted to get the bid out in the winter, so that we're ready to go in the spring, so we get the best prices per bid and all of that. That's normally our strategy. But it's just been held up at the state, and like Kathy said, we finally got that stamp for this one, so we can go out.
Well, we're hoping.
We're hoping.
Right. There's still,
Okay.
we're dealing with the state. We are definitely behind schedule from what we want it to be, but we're going to aim to try to do it. But again, like I said, we should have been going out, but we didn't get the information back. But I think Russ told me that he's looking to try to do this so we can not miss a construction season.
Oh, good, I just really hope that we don't miss the construction season. Thank you.
Right, okay.
Okay.
The affordable plan update, so that could be looked at on the website, and also we're going to have a report at our next meeting on that, and also Catherine Kramer, our town planner, who I know many of you have not met in person, will be coming to the meeting and talking about that for us. Unionville Bridge update. So the Unionville Bridge project 51-272 is starting. The project will replace the sidewalks and railings and perform some spot structural repairs and touch-up painting on the structural repair areas. Most of the work will take place at night with alternating one lane of traffic. There will be some night work starting in May, and then the bulk of the night work will be starting in July and go for 6 to 10 weeks. The state can start work after 7 p.m., but cannot go down to one lane until after 9 p.m. In May, there will be some Jersey barriers on the shoulder of the bridge, narrowing it by 2 feet, but 2 lanes will remain open in both directions. So I ask the public and everyone to be patient, but they are doing the bridge work in Unionville, which I anticipate will definitely cause some disruption.
Very good.
And that's it.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the town manager's?
One question? Just back to the Memorial Day Parade.
Yeah.
This is under different circumstances. This is a good thing that we're at least going to do a parade this year. But for next year, I would presume we're going to potentially come up with a new plan or stay with the old plan, but some type of new way of doing the Memorial Day parades in the, we'll say in 2022 will be at our doorstep.
That is my understanding. Really, this is about just because of COVID-19
Right.
and really trying to just have a parade
Right.
and have just one parade. So I think no real decision has been made after just this year.
Yeah, okay. As long as we have something ready to go for 2022.
And just a reminder, it's been not just last year, the year before, I believe it got rained out.
2 years.
So it's been a little while since we've had a parade, so I think we're all looking forward to having something to get out and celebrate and at a distance, socially distant, cheering on the parade. So, anything else, Kevin?
No, that is it.
Okay, now we have a report.
I make a motion to accept the town manager's report. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the town manager's report? Questions for the town manager? Concerns about anything she said? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Next item, L, appointments.
Agenda item L1, that Rick Berlandi be appointed to the Conservation and Inland Wetlands Commission for the balance of a 4-year term beginning immediately and ending September 30th, 2021. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any comments, questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Agenda item L3, that Maureen Fink be appointed to the Housing Authority for the balance of a 5-year term beginning immediately and ending September 30th, 2021. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Agenda item L4, that Ann Newberry be appointed to the Human Relations Commission for the balance of a 2-year term beginning immediately and ending June 30th, 2022. Second.
A motion and a second. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Agenda item L7, that Matt Stewart be appointed to the Bicycle Advisory Committee for an indefinite term. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Agenda item L8, that Bruce Donald be appointed to the Bicycle Advisory Committee for an indefinite term. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Okay, we are done with appointments. Moving on to item M, old business.
Agenda item N1, I make a motion that a property tax rate of 28.81 mils be levied at the next taxable grant list of October 1st, 2020, in the amount of $3,733,221,458 to meet the appropriations of the town of Farmington for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022, and that such taxes shall be payable in equal installments on July 1st, 2021 and January 1st, 2022, except that property taxes as defined in section 12-141 of the Connecticut General Statutes and the amount not in excess of $100 shall be due and payable in a single payment on July 1st, 2021 as provided by section 12-144 of the Connecticut General Statutes, and except that any tax on any motor vehicle shall be due and payable in full on July 1st, 2021, as provided in section 12-144A of the Connecticut General Statutes, and that solid waste service charge be set at $254 for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2021.
That's a second.
We have a motion and a second, Kathy.
This is, that you're setting the property tax rate and the solid waste service charge, and this is based on the past referendum.
Okay, any questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Skipping down to N4, since we've already done 2 and 3.
Agenda item N4, I make a motion to set a public hearing on June 8, 2021 at 7:05 p.m. in the Town Hall Council Chambers to amend the Farmington Town Code, Chapter 176, Taxation.
Second.
A motion and a second, Kathy.
So you have the notes of the changes of the ordinance. Typically, the town council will have the public hearing on it at the next meeting, and Joe and the committee will go through it in detail at that time.
Okay. A motion and a second, any questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Agenda item N5, to waive the bidding requirements pursuant to section 55-10 of the Town of Farmington Purchasing Ordinance under section 55-1, so that the town manager's office may contract with Authentic Post and Beam of Thomaston, Connecticut, to repair the Hein Barn at 303 Meadow Road at a cost of $35,925.
Second.
A motion and a second, Kathy.
So the Hein Barn at Meadow Road needs extensive renovation work. We tried to go out for some quotes. We only received one. The one that we did receive is the person that has previously done our work at the Tinty Barn, which we've been very pleased with. So we're asking to waive the bid requirements so that we can get this company on board to start getting the work done.
Any questions? I have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Agenda item N6, I make a motion to waive the bidding requirements pursuant to section 55-10 of the Town of Farmington Purchasing Ordinance under section 55-1, so that the town manager's office may contract with Authentic Post and Beam of Thomaston, Connecticut, to repair the Tinty Barns at a cost of $34,225.
Second.
Motion and a second, Kathy.
And the Tinty Barns need extensive renovation work to the roof and to the frames. The gable barn requires replacement of the damaged sills and additional framing to stiffen the structure. The Dutch barn needs to have an old roof system removed and a new roofing materials applied. The cost of this work is $9,625 and $24,600 respectively. Again, this is the company that has done work on the barn before, so I'm recommending that, asking that the council approve the waiving of the bid.
Very good, any questions or comments? We have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Agenda item N7, to approve a 3-year contract from July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2024 between the Town of Farmington and East Farmington Volunteer Fire Department, Inc., Farmington Volunteer Fire Department, LLC, and Tunx's Hose Company Number 1, Inc.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Kathy?
The 3 volunteer chiefs have agreed to the changes in the contract, and I'm recommending that the town council approve those changes. And it's a 3-year term and encompasses reimbursement to volunteer firefighters for recruitment and retention of membership with our volunteer fire department. The contract encompasses items such as paid per call drill, annual donation, and fuel allotment for each of the volunteer fire companies. The changes of this contract include an increase of 25 cents for each year for each certification level and $250 per year for the annual donation to each volunteer fire company. The volunteer chiefs have agreed to these changes, and I'm recommending that the town council approve it.
Any comments, questions?
Question, is the per call rate going up at all, or?
Yes, it is going up from, I think, 25 cents.
Oh, that's what the 25
Yes,
cents was.
25 cents, yes, per year.
And then they have it broken down for
Yeah, so it's,
drivers, EMTs.
yeah, so year one, it's going from, I'm sorry, so it's going from 25% increase per certification
Yes,
level.
okay.
So it's going to $9.25.
Okay.
Other questions? Seeing none, have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Agenda item N8, I make the motion that the following unobligated CIP balances be transferred to the account listed below for the purposes of reappropriating surplus funds from closed projects in order to purchase a maintenance truck for the Public Works Department or backup Public Works Department's Highway Division. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Kathy?
In the fiscal year 21-22 CIP budget, there was a reappropriation of surplus funds proposed for the purchase of a small maintenance truck for the Public Works Highway Division. The money for the purchase is proposed to come out from the surplus funds in the several closed capital project accounts that funded other equipment acquired by the Highway and Grounds units in the prior year. So that's the, from the accounts. In the first part of the motion, the transfer will reappropriate the funds in the CIP budget.
Questions or comments?
Just one, so all the items listed above, these were all savings on, for example, a backhoe, we saved on the purchase price $18,000, so to
Exactly,
speak?
yes.
Okay.
Yep, so we saved the money on the backhoe, the roadside mower,
Right.
for a total of 55.
$55,000,
And then
goes
we'll
to a
move,
new truck.
yes,
Got it.
exactly.
That's not the purchase of the truck, I mean, we have.
Joe, is the truck 55,000?
No, the truck's gonna be closer to 75,000, but there's actually savings in that account from previous truck purchases, which will be added to the 55 to cover the cost.
Thank you. Other questions? Okay, seeing none, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Agenda item N9, that the following unobligated CIP balances be transferred to the accounts listed below for the purpose of closing out various inactive CIP accounts and covering shortfalls in other CIP accounts. Second.
So same thing as the last item, so the mechanical control upgrades and the IA roof replacements are savings, and those numbers are gonna move to the Noah Wallace office relocation, West District office, security, Union School facade, and Union School, right wiring. So we're transferring the money.
Questions?
Same question that Chris had earlier, which is that the same amount, 127? Is equal to everything that you would have to do? I guess a question.
I think that's the shortages, right, Joe?
Yeah. This could be a little complicated. These projects are bond projects, and the bonds were over the course of 2 authorizations, an authorization in 2018 and an authorization in 2019. We issued the debt for some of the projects, and we issued debt for most of the projects. What happened, though, was once the projects were completed, there were some funds left over from the bonding, plus we got reimbursement back from the state, so some projects had surplus funds. What we're doing is, in accordance with bond council directive, we're going to take the project that has surplus funds, and we're going to use that extra surplus funds and put it towards the appropriations or the authorizations for projects that are still being worked on or that have overages. So we're basically just rebalancing two bond issues based on the authorizations. All the projects are closed out, and, except for mechanicals, all the projects are closed out. And this is just basically moving the dollars so that everything is fully expended, so we comply with IRS, spending requirements.
But I would take care of a good part of the schoolwork that needs to get done.
The only thing left, as far as I know, the only thing, there's 3 projects left based on those 2 authorizations. One is the East Farms Security Vestibule, which is being done in conjunction with the East Farms office relocation. There's some mechanical control work that's still to be done, and then there's some mechanical and plumbing and electrical work that's still authorized that has not been undertaken at this point.
Oh, okay.
So the majority of the 18 and 19 authorizations are complete, the projects are complete, and all of the bonds have actually been issued. There's nothing left that'll be issued on those 2 authorizations.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, we have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Agenda item N10, to approve the transfer of uncollectible property taxes to the suspense tax book.
Second.
Kevin?
In accordance with Section 12-165 of the Connecticut State Statute, the tax collector has recommended the 2020 suspense tax book. This book has been compiled for the purposes of identifying sums that may be uncollectible, and no way does it represent a cancellation of the tax. The tax office will continue to exercise every possible avenue to collect the unpaid tax, and the total sum is $18,980.
Any questions? Okay, we have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Agenda item N11, to cancel the May 25th, 2021 Town Council meeting.
Second. I'm assuming we had a great deal of discussion on this one. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Agenda item N12, to approve the following property tax refunds as listed below.
Motion and second, any questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Okay, moving on to item O, executive session, I believe we have none. Before going to adjournment, I will leave you with a quote from Thomas Friedman. We need better neighbors that care about the schools in their neighborhood, whether they have kids in them or not, because they know that the health and vitality of the neighborhood depends on it. With that, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion that we adjourn the May 11th, 2021 Farmington Town Council meeting. Second.
We have a motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned, 9:30.